Hello, welcome to Axiom Flux News. On today's date, the 5th of April 2015, with myself, PJ, on the panel. Also with a special guest, Mikey Summers, is going to be joining me in approximately 5-10 minutes' time to discuss the Melanie show vigil that's taken place earlier on in the afternoon. But before I'll go through to speaking with Mikey Summers, I'm going to be just bringing you some brief details and information on Melanie Show, so you got the idea of what it is we're going to be talking about if you're not already aware of Melanie Show's case. So as you can see on here, it's the bad case on Melanie Show victim come whistleblower. So Melanie Shaw was taken into care from her parents as a toddler. For at the tender age of 4 years old, she was being sexually abused at home. She was taken into care by Nottingham Social Services. She was placed into a foster home, and in that placement she was yet again abused. So she was removed from that placement and spent time in Nottingham Beechwood Children's Care Home, where she suffered horrific abuse here. She was raped, mentally and physically abused, even to the extent of being strung up by her feet, kicked and punched. She reported these happenings, but as a child she was dismissed out of hand. She carried these terrible experiences for many years, well into adulthood, that caused her many problems in her relating to the world. She received medication to help her through the horrors in which she had to endure. Come the death of Jimmy Savile on the 29th of October 2011, the mainstream media had a frenzy feed on the allegations of his paedophilia and necrophilia, and the procuring of children for paedophile rings high in the UK's establishment, with all the reporting of his outing rocked Britain to its core. With all this exposure of the sexual abuse in the news, emboldened her gave Melanie Shaw the fortitude to try to report it yet again. The goings on at the Beechwood Children's Care Home in Nottingham, which included rape, sexual abuse, physical abuse and torture, and mental abuse, including murder. This did not go down well with Nottingham County Council. She was told to keep quiet, with a friendly veiled warning: if she didn't keep quiet, they would remove her son from her, or words to that effect. Reporting child sex abuse at Beechwood Children's Care Home initiated Operation Daybreak by Nottinghamshire's police and social services, removed Melanie's son. She also received a lot of backlash, but stood firm in her whistleblowing to what she knew to be the truth. She noticed that she was being followed and her home was being overtly watched by groups of strange people hanging around outside her home. She was arrested on Wednesday, the 9th of July 2014 last year. She was held overnight and appeared in court on the 10th of July the next day, and was sent to prison, HMP, Her Majesty's Prison, Peterborough, run by Sodexo, for profit prison. It's a private profit prison. Before her arrest, she had contacted the UK Column News by text message saying, the text follows: "Please ring urgent. Something has happened and I don't trust the police, and I may be locked up tomorrow. I've got to surrender with my lawyer at 12 tomorrow. It's bizarre. I've done no wrong. Please ring me. This is scary, because it's not normal. Mel. I hope you are well. Kiss." End of message from Melanie Shaw. That was to the UK Column. Jerry picked up on that, and the UK Column News contacted the police, who refused to give information and quoted the Data Protection Act. What they have charged Melanie with is arson. How the British state, embedded with paedophiles, treats vulnerable Melanie Shaw, the Beechwood witness, who suffered rape and horrific abuse at the Nottingham Children's Home Beechwood, along with 100 or so others. So why have they put Melanie there? So all this article and the rest of the information we've attached on the Axiom Care website. simply go to the info page here on the website, scroll down, find the Melanie Show, the bad case, and any future information we do have, we will also be amending this page and keeping you informed on as much as possible. So now I've given you the introduction to Melanie Show and her case, the bad case. I'm going to start now by playing a video of the vigil today that went remarkably well until a certain period. So we're going to be discussing that. So I'm going to play the first part with audio and video, as I am on my own on the panel. I'm multitasking here, so I do apologise for the delay, but we should be getting there now. Okay, one last try.
What a huge building, and someone says it's big.
Okay, I should be able to see that. I'm not too sure if it's going through.
Getting about £35,000 a year per inmate. If you gave someone even a fraction of £35,000 a year, they probably would want to rent more anyway. Strange that, isn't it? There's always the money to incarcerate. And for a private profit to be made at that. Yeah, please, people publicise all the marches on the 11th, not just the London one, the other ones.
Keep going, have courage, and we'll get you out.
Anyone else?
We can hear Melanie!
Oh, sure! We can hear you! Write letters to us! We're behind you! To Nixon prison! You're hiding paedophiles for Nottingham Council! We're here to expose you, and we're here to expose all of the paedophile protectors, all their podgers! We will tolerate this no more until we get a public inquiry! Justice for Shaw! Justice for Melanie 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 Shaw! Melanie Shaw! Melanie Shaw!
Freedom! Freedom!
Get her a megaphone. Make sure you have support from all over the country. There are people here from London. There are people here from Nottingham. There are people here from the local community in Peterborough who care about you and who know that you should be free. We will not be silent. Justice for Melanie Shaw! Justice for Melanie Shaw! Justice for Melanie Shaw!
When we want it now, when we want it from Melanie. Oh no!
Melanie Shaw is in segregation!
Melanie,
How long? How long?
how long has she been there?
How long has she been there? 3 weeks. Melanie Shaw has been in segregation for 2 or 3 weeks. How long do you know how long she's going to be in there for? No.
Is she getting a medal?
Is she getting her mail? Is she getting her letters? Is she okay with medication and stuff? Thank you! Justice! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now! Justice for Melanie Shaw! Justice for Melanie Shaw! Justice for Melanie Shaw!
Okay, so there you can see the vigil that took place today on Easter Sunday. It was a really good turnout there for support for Melanie Shaw. I'm going to be connecting up with Mickey Summers in approximately 1-2 minutes time to discuss what happened today and a further video to come. But before we do reach that video, I'd just like to also show you something else as we start, which I thought was convenient. So here we go. This is the image of Melanie Shaw that you can see, and on the left it was before she went into the HMP Peterborough prison, and on the right it is the latest image that have been received, and you can tell by just a look, it's clearly evident that her welfare and health has not been taken into consideration, if at all. So we're going to be joined now with Mickey Summers. As you know, the video showed Melanie Shaw being in prison. We're not able to hear from Melanie direct tonight, but we've got Mickey Summers here. So hello Mickey, are you online? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear.
Great stuff. So it's good to have you with us. Thanks for taking your time out to join us tonight on Flux News for Axiom Curb. I'm going to hand it straight over to you because I'd like to discuss with you the following first, but we'll take it in stage. So clearly stated in the video that I'm about to show, you requested for a witness to be present as you was entering into the office at the Peterborough. Is that correct, yeah?
Yeah, well, at the end of the day, you know, from my perspective at least, there's no point, right, in going with a megaphone, right, and right, all that's there is a wall in front of us. There's no passing public, right, so we're not really gaining any publicity now. We know the situation from last year, so there's going to be nothing that's any different this year. So the only way to take it to them is to take it and assert our rights as citizens of this country and demand, as we are entitled to speak to a governor. And that is what we did today. Myself and Wendy, and someone with a camera, went into the prison with a view to speaking to a governor to try and ascertain exactly what is going on with the situation.
Yes, well, as I said, it was a really good turnout there. I did watch it live as it was being put out, and credit to the individual. I'm not sure on his name. I think it was Hemhouse who did the footage there. So credit goes to him for bringing us that footage for today. So let's go and play this video, because I believe this will be the first time you're actually going to be watching the video of inside the Peterborough. Yeah.
Yeah, well, we went in. We went in with a peaceful attitude, and all we wanted to do was see a governor. And straight away we get a thug, and that's all I could describe them as, because they rule the prisons based on fear and intimidation. And what they met today was someone who's not intimidated by them and definitely doesn't fear them. And I think we gave them our message that we will be back and we will be fighting on Melanie's behalf.
Yeah, definitely. So let's start this video now, and we'll get your thoughts after it's finished. It's about 5 minutes long, roughly, so not be too long.
Who's got a video camera?
Mr. Gentleman. Yeah, I'm streaming.
We all need to come into the prison office with us. Me and Wendy are going to go.
Right.
We're going to the prison office.
Right, okay, we're going to try it real quick, okay? But that's all we can do, okay? We're going to do
This is going out live to the world.
So we're not going to put any pictures or anything, that's fine. And I'll come along with you, and that's fine, that's not a problem, okay? But
You can take my details.
yeah, can you please give me a number, please? Must just go there.
Where's Nigel?
I don't know, he's coming up.
We need to take Nigel in with us as well. Please,
Leave it there. Yeah, come
that's
on.
why I'm a representative.
Yes, yes. Yeah, thank you.
You're broadcasting this live.
This is broadcasting live. This is going globally.
We need you to come in and witness what is actually going on.
And someone tell Bamboozle they want to get RT or Al Jazeera to take this. Al Jazeera have taken my streams before.
We are now entering Peterborough Prison.
No cameras inside, please. From that side. Yeah, no cameras inside, please. No cameras inside, please. I'm not on camera.
What's that? No. Excuse me, please. Get out of the way! These are protected. Right, sir. You want to speak to me? You talk to the chief manager, yeah, all right? The rest of these, like,
Everyone else, they're not going to talk unless you all leave the building and all get a code of the cameras. They're not talking unless you all leave outside. There's children, and I do not want any of these children to be recorded. So please, can you place your cameras that way? Yeah. Yeah? I don't want no children being recorded.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah.
Right, somebody's child. Well, let's take the children in now.
I'm somebody's child. We're all children. We're all somebody's child, aren't we?
Yeah. I understand that.
We all came from a woman, didn't we?
I do not want any other children recorded. That's it.
Yeah. Don't mind abusing them, just don't want them recorded.
I realise it's on time.
We're not on BBC, it's only allowed on the BBC.
Just
It's a company we have to pay for, supposedly legally.
As long as you remember that you've actually got the authority. Want to, mate?
Exactly. I don't. And I don't.
She didn't find suggestions the other day. That's probably
Someone was arguing?
Well, the dickens don't want to fight anyway. But the bottom line is that there's going to be a formal complaint the way the prison officer came out in a threatening, intimidating manner. Like, wanted to basically tell me that he can do what he wants and physically remove me. Well, I gave him the opportunity to, but we went in to actually see a prison guard, and we got to see two of them, and we will take this forward. There'll be a formal complaint sent in by the chairman of the Nottingham CSA Inquiry Action Group tomorrow, and we will take this further forward. We can't get no news on where Melanie is, other than that she is in solitary confinement. And
this is torture,
that's what I've got to
isn't
say, but Wendy's here. No, they can't because of the Data Protection Act.
They can't tell us anything about Melanie. They said it is not their policy to withhold mail. I said, what if you're ordered from higher above? He said, well, that would be the Home Office. I said, but aren't you a Sodexo prison? And you're not run under HMP British rules. He said, no, we run under British rules. So I asked why her Mackenzie friend had been refused admittance. And he said, Mackenzie friends are not refused admittance. I said, it's on your own website, I've read it. Because I've asked, why do you have separate conditions to normal British prisons? So as it stands now, we've got the guy's name, and the other guy, the smaller guy, was the Deputy Governor of the men's side. This is visits for both sides. And the officer who Mickey had the ruckus with, we have his name, and Mickey will be doing as he said. Thank you.
They're not prison officers, it's a private company.
Yeah, how can they be officers?
How can they be officers?
All right, well, that's all. You were told.
In fact, they should remove the HMP from there because it's misrepresentation. If they are run by Sodexo, they are not Her Majesty's prisons. How can they be?
Well, there you go. That's the question of the day. How can HMP Peterborough Prison be a prison to Her Majesty when it's private? So along with what you've just seen there, Nicky, apart from it being despicable behaviour from these, so-called professional prison guards and staff, how did that make you feel, knowing that before you even got to discuss or confront anybody about it, you was already under the attack?
The thing is, the whole system geared to put you in fear and to intimidate you. The last comment though by the guy who took the film says about it being totally private. According to this governor that we spoke to, he said that they manage the prison on behalf of the Home Office, and at all times they follow Home Office guidelines. Well, that is something that I'm going to be discussing tomorrow morning with the chair of the Nottingham CSA Inquiry Action Group. It's got to the point we're on the verge of a public inquiry anyway, and it's appropriate that our chairperson takes this up. We will in due course be actually putting a formal complaint into Cambridgeshire Police at Peterborough Police Station via telephone tomorrow, and we'll deal with it as necessary. But the one thing I will not tolerate, right, is a thug that comes bounding out from behind his counter trying to get his cosh out, and most people, like, that they would have done a runner. There was a few people that did vacate there because they thought it was going to kick off. Right? As far as I'm concerned, bring your cosh, bring whoever you want, because I will at least take one of them out. But I didn't want it to come to that. They were the aggressors, and right, it's time now that we took it to them. I don't mean take it to them in a physical sense to go for a confrontation. We're not going to gain much ground by actually going back to that prison. So the only way forward is we have this on record now. This stuff can go to the eventual inquiry in the broader terms of reference as to what has been done to Melanie Shaw. We all know what's been done. She's been totally mugged off. When she got dealt with last year at the Crown Court, let's talk about Judge Michael Pert for starters. He actually instructed the jury to hear nothing about Operation Daybreak. He wrongly guided the jury, stating that Operation Daybreak is a conspiracy theory. Well, my reply, if I was to meet Judge Pert tomorrow, would be, well, is it a conspiracy theory that's just recently arrested two people? One's currently on bail and one's currently languishing on remand in prison. Is it a conspiracy theory that I personally went to the police in 2003, long before Melanie successfully blew enough whistles to create the noise that Nottinghamshire Police would do something? I'm not going to comment on the trial because there was a lot of things that didn't sit right at all, and those that were present in the court are fully aware of it. But what happened after she came out of court, she was promised by local MP Chris Leslie, Nottingham Crime Commissioner Paddy Tipping, and several people from Nottingham City Council. I'm led to believe, but I'm yet to confirm, it will probably have involved Alison Michalska, the Corporate Director of Social Services. Apparently, Melanie was made all kinds of promises to be put on some kind of board, as some kind of ambassador, but there was a price to pay for that, her silence and her getting her son back. Now, she wasn't prepared to be silent, and she wasn't getting her son back, and her responses were that she's allegedly done things that have put her back in prison. There's very little information going out. She wasn't in an open court when she went to court, and now languishes in the jail. It's an horrendous situation for an abuse survivor that's still being abused by the system. I'm not going to bitch about my situation. I'm still being abused by the situation. The difference is, in my case, that I have lots of documentary evidence that support everything that I say. And as for Nottingham Police, well, they're under investigation by the Independent Police Complaints Commission for a failure to investigate, which is something that Melanie Shaw actually tried to highlight, because apparently she'd been to the police before. And that's why she kept banging on the door until somebody finally heard her. She's a vulnerable adult, you know, and she has her own issues. And I consider myself very fortunate that I turned my issues around just over 12 years ago, and have continued to do so. But in doing that, I've had to find my own closure in my stuff. And trying to find my records from my childcare would have been a piece of the jigsaw that would put it all together. Unfortunately, they've been destroyed as part of the cover-up, and they told us that they'd searched other areas for records, including the Nottinghamshire archives, and we've uncovered documents as well as medical records that placed me in places that they said that didn't exist, or weren't their establishments, or places where they said I would never have been sent. I placed myself there with documentary evidence, and there's lots of similarities. You know, when I tried to blow the whistle as a kid, I was sent and held incommunicado down at Langport in Somerset, at Romando. It's not dissimilar to Melanie's case when she tried to blow the whistle last year. The charges were always suspect. There was very minimal evidence, and it was down to those who support her, and eventually down to a jury that found her guilty. I have some serious questions that I would like to ask Michael Pert, the judge in the case, because I believe he misguided the jury, and as such, there ought to be a mistrial that's brought about, and a retrial, because that wasn't justice. It was a kangaroo court set up in such a way that there was only ever going to be one result. Melanie Shaw found guilty. But going back to the situation that Melanie found herself in, the councillors wanted to manipulate her to have her silenced, and the bargaining chip was Melanie getting her son back. Now, I've never been a parent. I've been a step-parent, but never actually been a parent. Never wanted kids because of my situation in care, and around a dysfunctional family that I grew up with. And that played a part in me growing up. And yeah, I've got a few regrets about that stuff today, but you know what? My heart goes out to her, because I've seen the devastating effects on other people that it's done to them, and destroyed their ability to have intimate relationships, either with a partner or even with children of their own. And it's a horror story that's evolving with Melanie, and it's just got to stop.
It definitely has got to stop, Mickey. Are you able to briefly tell us what was discussed when it was off camera, when you was finally invited to a short conversation with, I think you said, 2 prison guards, and that was after the where you came out and said paedophile protectors. Now, the minute you said that, one of them, you know, turned around and said, "Well, I'll have a talk with you in a room there." Are you able to tell us briefly what we discussed?
Well, we put forward people's concerns, and all we got back were answers about data protection acts, and that they can't discuss an individual's case. Well, I do have an answer for that. They can quote all they want. But we were just asserting our rights that we do, as members of the public concerned about somebody being held in prison, have the right to demand that they bring down a prison governor for us to have our concerns addressed. Now, that wasn't complied with in full, and as such, because I've been in prison and I make no bones about it, I do know the system, and it's not changed very much, even though it's 20 odd years since the last time I was there. They have a system whereby a member of the public, a lay person, can go in and actually speak to individuals. So I should be speaking with the chair of the Nottingham CSA tomorrow, with a view to him contacting the prison governor to find out who the layperson is, and we'll try and get the chair and the layperson to go in and personally see Melanie. There are ways forward to do it, but you've got to know the system and be able to use the system to your own benefit. I feel privileged to have actually been there today, to have had that confrontation, and to be able to take the results of that confrontation to the CSA Inquiry Action Group, because this has all been logged by the chair this afternoon, and we will be reconvening, and we'll be making a plan of action to take it forward. I will, of course, make a complaint to Cambridgeshire Police at Peterborough Police Station by phone tomorrow, with a view to having that officer investigated and reported to the Home Office as inappropriate way to treat a member of the public.
Oh, completely. That was actually one of my next things I was going to ask you, but seeing as you've just already answered that one, what do you make of the Dame Lowell Goddard, the one that's thirdly been appointed to look into this historic, well, they call it historic. What are you making of that? I know, well, I'm gathering that you're not willing to wait any longer on any such investigation from these sort of people. So, which is, why you're trying to go about setting up some sort of inquiry led by the actual, the victims. What's your thoughts on Dame Goddard?
I take it you're referring to the judge from New Zealand.
That's the one, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I actually did quite a bit of research. As my friend Mandy, who's quite well known in Nottingham, we did quite a lot of research on this judge. She's not part of the establishment. She's one that's been known to rock the boat against the establishment. She's been involved in inquiries, and from my perspective, I keep an open mind. And based on what she's put out there, if you put a good panel around someone, because you've got to have somebody on that panel that understands British law. Now, New Zealand, Australia, Canada, the United States, most of their laws are based on UK law. Now, the thing that we've got to really look at those inquiries are not only the crimes that's been committed against the survivors of the abusers, but also acts of malpractice, malfeasance, and gross professional misconduct in destruction of records, cover-ups. All these people need to be brought to book, and the only way you can bring them to book is having someone with a total legal knowledge. The most important thing for me to have, though, would be someone that represents the survivors. Michael Mansfield QC has been suggested, but he's currently unavailable because he's actually in Sheffield at the moment on the Hillsborough case, and we would have to find someone of a similar ilk to Michael Mansfield, because that's the only way that we're going to make ground. It's got to be someone that the survivors trust.
Well, I'm not sure how you came to the level of confidence in someone regarding the law, especially when they wasn't aware what the establishment actually was.
In terms of the law where that judge is concerned, she's actually got a pretty good track record from what I read, and I'm just basing that on the fact that their law in New Zealand and Australia, Canada, and the Commonwealth countries is based on British law. She'd have to be like guided by the terms of reference as well, because it's not so much the person that's leading it, it's the broader terms of reference for the inquiry. That they are the key to it. She's only going to be chairing the panel and as such guiding the rest of the panel. But it is important that we don't have somebody like Butler Sloss or the other people that were muted to be involved in it and made the actual thing collapse.
Right. Apart from a marriage, sorry there, Mikey, apart from a marriage that she had involved with somebody in the establishment, that's the next nearest link to the establishment that Dame Laura Goddard has. Another thing you mentioned, that you did some research and you found out a pretty good background on her. Well, myself and some others from the Axiom Cave community also did some research, and we found the contrary to that. So it's interesting to, meet up probably next few days and get a bit of information on what you found, and maybe we could pass you something that we found as well.
Yeah, and that is the only way that we've actually made ground, move forward, move sideways, and move forward again, is by people getting together and uniting. We have all these groups scattered across the country, all different child abuse groups, and we've only had a couple of occasions where a lot of groups have actually joined together. If that was to happen nationwide, we would have a powerful mega group, and the voices would be heard. But
I think it's gonna take a pair of big ears from the government to listen to the people on this one to calm down and disappear. Mickey, I'm not too sure about yourself. I don't think this is going to go away anytime soon.
No, I can't really comment on the national CSA because, as you know, I've only been back in the UK for a year, and I was aware of it. I was aware of the situation with the national CSA thing. I was in touch with a few people that have been actively involved in it. Nigel, who was at the protest today, he represents White Flowers who've been involved. I was actually down at the House of Commons, I think it was January, and Nigel was speaking there, and they've pretty much got it together, the survivors groups that are attending these CSA conferences. But our main concern at the moment has to be Nottingham, getting the stuff out there, creating the public awareness, and at the end of it, doing stuff for people like Melanie. The CSA group was something that I came up with that we needed to have done because we was always going to want a public independent inquiry. Now, I've been pushing my constituency MP, Lillian Greenwood, for quite a while for some answers, and one of the answers she got was that the council's intended to have what they call a safeguarding review at the end of Operation Daybreak. A review looks at the current safeguards and sweeps everything under the carpet, and that's what they've done for decades. We can actually prove they've done it since 1953. So that's 6 decades of child abuse that's been covered up, and we're not going to tolerate it no more. So my way forward was that we get a group together with some structure, and the only way that you can have structure that the judiciary understand, the police understand, is find something along a parallel. So I've found a retired colonel, and he's got a very good military career. He understands the structure needed, and he's actually got quite a few resources that's come good for us. Through him, we've attracted untold whistleblowers, retired social workers, retired police officers, and we are becoming a bit of a force of our own. And we've had meetings with that same crime commissioner, Paddy Tipping, and he's trying to create what they call a working group that allows the inquiry action group to sit around the table with the councils and the police to sort out the terms of reference and what the panel will be. From our perspective, it has to be a survivors-led inquiry, and the survivors have to approve each panel member. The councils can have no say in it because we're not having it where they bring their own people in and we get another whitewash. Like this time, it's going to be done, and it's going to be done in a proper way, and it's going to be done open so the public can see it.
That's great stuff to hear that, Mickey. You're the start of the end of child abuse. Hopefully we can...
No.
I mean,
I really need to stop you there. I'm not the star of anything. I'm just a cannonball.
Well, you're the start of the cannonball firing then, if you want to put it like that. Along with...
At the end of the day, yeah, I may be seen as some kind of figurehead. It's you guys, the people that turned up today. It's the people that turned up all the other protests. You're the people that carry the message. Yeah.
I don't think there's ever been a time like today and recently over the past year where we've never really had a movement as such as what we've got now developing to do with child abuse and putting a end to it. And I think the end goal is to not have anything like, you know, these groups set up, because we shouldn't really need to have to set a group up against child abuse. So until the day comes where we can all, you know, rest and live easy, I don't think we're going to see an end to anything as yet. But it's all good. I do understand where you're coming from, Mickey. But along with Melanie's show, you know, for what she's put out there and exposed, it's all good to know that, you know, there's people supporting people like Melanie's show and yourself, and we can all lead together to support one another. And also, you know, not just the other children out there that haven't come forward who've been abused, but the ones to come, because, you know, this isn't stopped. This is it's continuous. As you said, it's, you know, gone on as far as 60 years, and in my opinion, I think it's gone on a lot longer than that. But just before we do finish, because we are running out of time, Mickey, I just wanted you to remind people on your complaint that you're going to be making, and hopefully you can keep us informed on how that goes.
Yeah, we're actually going to use official channels to do it. Because I went in there quite peacefully with Melanie's most staunch campaigner, Wendy Hurst. We decided to take a police community support officer in with us to try and defuse any situation, and we met with hostility. And as most people know, I'm not going to back down. And
I'd just like to, sorry to interrupt. I'd just like to say the scene where it may appear or look as you was the original aggressor, where you were seen taking your coat off and putting it to the floor, and you had your arm stretched outside. Never mind what happened in that audio. Before you actually entered that building, you declared and clearly stated that you requested somebody as a witness with a camera there present. So you had no intentions on going in there kicking off in that manner. That was brought on by their reaction to, you know, how you entered the building. I mean, you didn't really enter the building in any negative way. I don't even feel like you was given the benefit of any doubt, really, as such. I think they came on top of you like a ton of bricks. And for the short period of time that I actually got to see the guy, was he the one in the white shirt?
Yes, he was. At the end of the day, the reason why I asked for a camera, every meeting that I go into, be it with a city councillor, an MP, even the police, I have someone with a video camera, so that you can never go down the route of he said, she said, right? You can't argue with what the camera sees. The camera doesn't lie, and that is why.
It does, Mickey, but the perceptions of how people view this material may differ. I mean, for some that aren't well up on this case, where they've just actually firstly watched that video and they've seen you taking your coat off, and you're going to think, well, this guy, you know, he deserves what's coming if he's acting like that. But the run up to what led you to, you know, act that way, which in my opinion was a defensive, you know, mechanism, a coping mechanism for yourself. I mean, you were standing your ground and you weren't having anybody, you know, pushing you about.
The the guy actually came running from behind the counter, right, trying to get a baton out. Now, I'm not going to move, right? So I'm going to make myself a little bit more agile. That coat's quite heavy. I can't maneuver my arms around. My arms are open, right? I can't be seen as an aggressor. Right? I'm an open book, and I'm not going to back down. I'm asserting my rights, right, as a citizen of this country that was born and bred here, and
Well,
I'm there to do what I need to do.
We need more people to say that, and stand up for the rights and assert them in the right way. We are running short on time now, Mickey, but do keep us up to date. Any future events or meetings that is going to be taking place that you could let people know for the viewers that are watching?
Yeah, well, what I will do, PJ, when we're going to actually have the next CSA inquiry in Nottingham, the actual another meeting, I'll give you a heads up a day or two before, and maybe you can come down to Nottingham and see what we're doing and what progress we're making, and then you can make a report to go back.
Right, yeah, I'll definitely do that. Keep me informed on these dates and times, and I'll work alongside you to get that sorted out, definitely.
To kind of wrap it up, we've all seen Rotherham collapse. Well, I can promise you it will be a week either side of the election. Nottingham's going to be the next one. But when Nottingham goes, it's going with a big bang. Thanks for having me on.
No, it's a pleasure to have you here. Thanks very much, Mickey, for all that, and we will keep you in touch with you on future information there. But until the next time, tomorrow most likely, that is the end of Flux News for today. So do join us again, and meanwhile, keep speaking out, keep supporting one another, and never forget to love each other as each day goes by. Until next time, take care for now, and bye-bye.